In this video, I'm going to explain to you two very important things that God taught me that allowed me to be able to quit the addiction to vaping that I never thought I'd be able to quit. If you don't know who I am or you're new here, my name is Ariana, but I also go by Ari, and God has freed me from addictions to alcohol, nicotine, multiple different kinds of drugs, depression, and the list could go on and on. But now God is leading me to make these videos to show others how He freed me from these addictions. So in this video, I'm going to tell you about the first two things that God taught me that made it possible for me to quit the addiction to vaping that I had. Now, you might be able to relate to this, but when I was trying to quit vaping, there were so many times that I could not understand why I couldn't just stop. And I would get so frustrated thinking, why can't I just give it up and forget about it? And it seemed like no matter what I did, there was always something that made me pick it back up or start a different addiction in its place. Or I could make it a certain amount of time without it, but eventually I would find myself back to it without even realizing how I got there. And it started to make me wonder why it is that this happens. Because even while having a genuine desire to quit something, or even knowing why we should quit, we can still find ourselves stuck in an addiction or a cycle that just ends up being so frustrating that we want to give up trying to quit. But I want to let you know that it is possible. I have seen and experienced myself that you can stop any addiction that you're struggling with. So don't give up and let the addiction win, because God is going to free you from whatever you're struggling with. So now I'm going to tell you about the first thing that God taught me that helped me to quit vaping. And it might sound a little too simple, but that's why it gets easily overlooked. So don't write it off and hear me out. Continual prayer. I've been learning that there are multiple types of prayer, and continual prayer being one of them. And I like to think about it as being on a never-ending phone call with God, where you're on speakerphone all the time. He can hear you and he can hear everything that's going on around you. And he's just waiting on the other line for you to say something to him. Because that's how it actually is. He can hear you and he's just waiting for you to say something to him. And then there's another type of prayer that most people are familiar with that I like to call formal prayer. And this is where you're praying, thanking God for things, asking for things, praying for family members or people. And this is what most people tend to think about when they think of prayer. Then there's another type of prayer, of conversational prayer, where you are asking God questions and you're listening to hear a response from God. And this one can take some time to learn and grow in a relationship with God, to be learning how God speaks. And there's also what I like to call warfare prayers, where you are standing in authority in Christ and battling against the accusations and attacks of the enemy or any forces of evil. And then there's continual prayer, which is the first one that I mentioned, and this is the type of prayer that you can talk to God anytime, anywhere, just by saying a few words or sentences that are directed to God. Some examples of this could be thanking God for getting you home safely, or thanking Him for the beautiful weather. Or in the instance of quitting an addiction, you can ask God for strength anytime you're struggling with a temptation or a craving. And this is what I had to do when I was quitting vaping. I literally had to ask God and lean on Him every couple minutes anytime I would get a craving or a temptation. In 1 Corinthians 10:13, it says, "No temptation has come upon you except what is common to humanity. But God is faithful. He will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you're able. And with the temptation, He will also provide the way out so that you may be able to bear it." So God will give you the way out of the temptation or craving of whatever addiction you're struggling with, but it's our responsibility to acknowledge that way out that He's giving us and accept it. So if you're trying to cut back on social media use or doom scrolling, ask God to help remind you when you find yourself clicking on your phone again. Or if you're trying to quit smoking, throw away everything that you have. And every time that you get a thought or a craving to go get more, use that as an indication to ask God to give you strength, and put on some worship music, because when you're worshiping God, your mind cannot be focused on worshiping anything else. So, continuous prayer and calling on God literally every second of every day, if you need to, is the first thing that God showed me to help quit an addiction. Now, the second thing that God taught me that allowed me to quit nicotine was shifting my mindset from fighting the addiction to claiming victory over it before I even saw it happen. In the book of Joshua, God tells Joshua that he's given him the city of Jericho before they actually took it. Before they walked around the walls of Jericho 7 days, God told Joshua that he had already given him the city. So God taught me that I needed to stop trying to fight the addiction to win, but rather to fight with the mindset that I had already won. Because Jesus already won, because he defeated all darkness and sickness when he overcame death and the grave. And he has given us all of that authority through our belief in him, which means we also have that victory, meaning that the addiction that you're struggling with has already been defeated, and now all you have to do is just claim it and accept it. Even if you don't see the evidence of that, or you feel like you don't believe that yet, claim it anyway. Tell yourself every single day and speak over yourself that you've already defeated this addiction. And the more that you declare that and claim it, you will start to see a shift in your mindset, and it'll help you to move forward knowing that you've already won instead of trying to fight to possibly win. So that's going to be it for this video, but in my next video, I'm going to be explaining the effect that the devil and demonic forces have on us with addictions, and I'm going to be sharing with you a deliverance prayer that I did for myself that I believe had a huge impact on quitting the addiction that I struggled with. So thank you for watching this video, and please share it with somebody if you think they could benefit from it, and I hope you have a blessed and wonderful day.